With Canes punter Lou Hedley back for another season, and Lou, you announced it recently. You were coming back. I know you joked on social media on Instagram that you just needed the was it 10,000 likes, but what was the real reasoning behind coming back to the U?
Yeah, I think I had a bit of fun with it, leading into the decision. But I think for me, it was just I had little things to get healthy and get to the level where I needed to be to compete, to play football on Sundays, and I wasn't where I needed to be. So, staying another year, I thought I would be able to get myself to where I need to be. And, with all the new coaching changes, I think there's a lot of momentum leading into this next season. I met with Coach Cristobal and, had a conversation with him before my decision. So, a lot of things, impacted my decision, but I think, there's nothing wrong with staying another year if you need it. I think, a lot of players should do that as well. It's not the worst thing staying back, and I get to finish my Masters, which is great. I started that last semester, so getting to finish my Masters as well as, my undergrad here at the University of Miami is a great accomplishment, and, I'm happy to do it.
Nothing wrong with that opportunity to do that and to keep playing too, because I know you love the U, and it's something that you've only been here a few years, but in the few years you've been here in South Florida, part of the U, does it feel like family now? Because I know that the fans treat you that way, and I know the program does too.
Yeah, no doubt. I think since being here, I've been here for nearly 3 years. I haven't gone back to Australia. So I think, like I said, I get treated like, I'm born and raised here, and I've been here, my whole life. The people treat me really well. The fans are amazing. And, just everyone within the organization at Miami is amazing. And everyone I've met, in the past couple of weeks that are new to the staff and coming in seem like really good people. And, like I said, I'm really excited to get this 2022 season underway.
I want to ask you about your new head coach in a moment, but before we move on to that, I got to ask you about this. I saw this pop up. You had some fun. You had some fun with it. How did this come together?
I think players in the past have recently, have used this scene from Wolf of Wall Street to say they're coming back. So I decided just to have a little bit of fun with it. I found an app and decided to be a little creative, but it was just a good laugh.
I love you rep the 305. You're definitely 305 now when you got Rock and you got Rick Ross and Pitbull and everybody else.
Yeah, I made sure there was a lot of Miami natives in there.
I like the look. You definitely had it down. Let's talk about Mario Cristobal, because it's tough. Anytime you talk to, whether you're a pro or a collegiate, when a new coach comes in, that means an old coach is leaving. And obviously you had a good relationship with Manny Diaz, being it's the guy that you came to the U with. How was the emotions of that, knowing that, hey, Manny's no longer your coach. Now you have to meet a new coach, and it's in Mario Cristobal. Just a two-part question. First of all, the change, and then your first impression of Mario Cristobal.
So obviously when the news got announced, it was pretty sad. Saying goodbye to Coach Diaz. He was obviously been with us for the last 3 years since I was here. I was his first signee actually back when I signed. So I had a good relationship with Coach Diaz. But it's college football, and I think everyone knows what they're signing up for when you're a part of this organization. And I think, if there was one man to do it and come in, it's Coach Cristobal. He's been here, done that. He won national championships here. Once I met Coach, I've been super excited ever since, because he's a great person. I think, I spoke with him for about over an hour when he first got here, and had a meeting with him, and we just spoke about life and, hardly football, just about how he got here. And, I think he's a great dude. And like I said, just super excited to get this season underway, because I think we're going to have a great one.
I'm glad you said that, because, with Tyler Van Dyke, with the new head coach that comes obviously with the background of being a guy who won championships at Miami. And then you just talked about why you came back, and, you wanted to put together even a bigger season, as good as you were last year, Ray Guy Award finalist, second in the country in punt average. What is the excitement? I know we're months away, but what is the excitement for this upcoming year, just from your standpoint and from a program standpoint?
I think I'm excited to see Tyler start building from the first game. We get to see Tyler, throughout a whole season. I think the team's really rallying behind him. He's one of the leaders of the program now after the second half of the season he had, and I think we can do great things based around Tyler. Our defense is going to be good, and I don't know. I think we definitely have the team to go to Charlotte, and from there, anything's possible. But right now, I think we should just focus on a really good spring, getting stronger, getting better, and take it a day at a time.
You mentioned Tyler. Right off the bat, Mario Cristobal says, I don't think there's a better quarterback in the country. He comes in last year when Dyke gets hurt, and it's tough because Dyke was your leader, and that was, obviously tough for the program and for your teammates. But what did Tyler show, and how excited are you that he is the quarterback and what he was able to do last year?
Well, obviously he showed everyone that he can play football. He dominated, the games he played, and not even that, just in the, pre-game, he was given the speech to the offense, and he'd become one of those vocal leaders that we needed him to be. And I think, when we got him in this situation now through, having him in the spring, summer and fall as that leader, as that general of the team, I think, that's huge. And obviously, just having him at the start of spring all through the year as the guy, and I'm super excited to see what he can do in 2022. I think he'll be up there for the Heisman.
That's the expectation. I know Mario's happy to have him. I know your teammates, you were happy to have him. For you, you mentioned earlier the 3 years here and the change, and you haven't been back home. I mean, that's got to be a huge change. You come over to this country, you're over on the West Coast, you get your taste of American life. What was the biggest change? What's been the biggest change, like the biggest adjustment to coming over here and living this life compared to what you had back home?
Yeah, I think there's a huge difference. I think I started off in San Francisco, so I kind of got, I kind of got a feeling for what college football is like, at junior college. But I think the biggest difference is, I was working back home as a scaffolder, construction, so college lifestyle is a lot different. I hadn't been to school in a long time, so just going back to classes and doing that sort of stuff. But now I've really embraced it. I love going to school and learning every day, and like I spoke about earlier, getting my masters and all my degrees. I think I would never have dreamt of doing that back a few years ago before I decided to come to college football. So this place and country and team has given me a lot of opportunity that I wouldn't have gotten in Australia. So I'm just privileged to be over here and just doing my thing.
I'm a proud Kane graduate, a little older than you, but way back in the day, my senior roommate was an Australian exchange student. And I remember him coming over to this country for the first time. It was a little different then, He actually searched the web and he saw pictures of Miami Beach, and pretty girls. And he said, that's where I want to go. I want to go to the University of Miami. That's how he picked his school. But when he got here, he was like, man, this is a whole different world. What was your, this is a whole different world moment when you moved to Miami?
Yeah, I think Miami kind of feels like a different country in itself to America. You know what I mean? I like how it's kind of loose and laid back here. The weather's always hot. The culture here is amazing. There's so many different ethnicities and people from different places. Everyone's very accepted. So I love the people here. Like I spoke about, I love the people, love the fans. Everyone's very accepting of everyone, and yeah, it's a great place.
Did it take you long? And as far as the initial, all the talk when you signed, obviously everybody's talking about the tattoos and this, and a guy who's a little older than your average college student. How long did it take that to kind of pass and be like, okay, I'm just one of the guys. I'm just a college student. I'm moving on with my life. That kind of level of sort of stardom before you even kicked one football. How long did it take that to kind of pass and to get used to it and just kind of be the regular guy and just a guy on the football team?
Yeah, I think my first season, I think it was kind of full on my first season. I didn't get here till summer, so I didn't have much time to sort of get to know everyone. Through the summer, I met as many people as I can through the team, but not really, close friends. So I think that first season, after that first season, and once I got a spring and a full year under my belt with the team, I think that's when really started feeling like, part of the team. And I think my biggest thing was I didn't want to just be that tattooed guy, that was at Miami. I wanted to show that I can play football, and I had a really good season in 2020. I think after that, I was like, I'm also want to be known for, how I play football and not, the way I look. So I think I've changed that narrative pretty well, and I'm going to continue to, keep doing it.
Now, I think it's pretty safe to say you've changed that narrative. Now you have a potential NFL career. Obviously, one more year to go at Miami. Do you miss home? You miss being home? And when do you expect to get back and make a trip over there?
Yeah, I definitely do miss home. I was supposed to go back after last season for a little bit, but COVID kind of interrupted that. And then my dad and brother, they also were going to come and watch a month of football this year just gone, and COVID. Australia is pretty strict with the COVID laws, so hopefully this year, I know there's another outbreak now, which is kind of devastating. I hope that doesn't stay around for too long, but hopefully I can figure something out this year, whether it's them coming over here or I can go over there if it's safe to go catch up with everyone. But I definitely miss home. But I love it here, and Miami's not a bad place to be hanging around.
There are worse places to be. Trust me.
Yeah.
I bounced around a bit after and it's good to be back home. I know you miss Australia. That makes sense. You talked about your relationship with your teammates. Did that take long? Like, you come in, and again, not that you're an old guy. I mean, obviously you're only in your 20s, but when you're around 18, 19-year-old guys, you've kind of lived that life. You mentioned you worked. Does it take a while to teammates to kind of say, like, okay, he's a little older than I am, but he's not an old guy. I mean, he's just one of the guys. Like, what's it like to be the older guy in the room on a college football team?
So I don't think too many of them, think too much about how old I am. I think I'm just treated like a senior, just like all the other seniors. I've got a really good relationship with all the freshmen. Every position room in the team, I think I can comfortably go in there and have a laugh with. I think I'm real comfortable with everyone on the team. I think I've got a relationship with most players on the team. That's my thing, is just, building the relations, making sure, if I can be that guy. If people need to come up to me and talk about something, I'm happy to talk to them about anything. You know what I mean? So I've been around. I've lived back home and worked. I let them know what that side of life is like and how important getting this part university and football is super important, because I've been and I've worked in construction. I've done all that stuff, which is nothing wrong with it. But this is just a completely different life, and I'm loving every bit, but I just make sure that the team, all the team feels comfortable coming up to me as one of the leaders, one of the mentors, especially now coming back this last year. So, I'm super excited to just be that guy again.
You embrace that then, right? You don't have to worry about old man jokes or anything like that from the young guys, right? You're the vet that they look to, they can turn to, right? Or is there a joke now and then, or they let it go? They don't mess with you.
I know sometimes that they'd be calling me old, but that's no problem. I got jokes of my own, so I get them back, no problem at all.
I've heard some stories, by the way, stories I won't repeat here. I've heard you can be a fun guy to be around as a teammate, to give guys a tough time. You like that as well, because obviously part of a locker room is having fun, right? It's not football, it's education, but you got to have fun as you do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you got to have fun. You got to be, you got to kind of have a laugh, and that's part of football as well. You know what I mean? You can't be serious all the time, but definitely when it's time to be serious, you got to be serious. But especially, summer can get tough, and you've always got to have that laugh. And there's a lot of people on the team that kind of help out in that department also. I think we've got a great team, and with the team we've got coming into next season, we're going to build something really special.
Couple last things before I let you go, Lou, and I appreciate the time. First of all, I know when you got here, you got the number, and it was The Rock. And I remember reading or hearing you say, like, hey, he's a guy I looked up to, obviously The Rock as a wrestler, as an entertainer, as a guy who played football at the U. But I never followed up to find out. Have you ever had a chance to talk to him or meet him? Did he tweet you? Did he talk to you? Have you seen him?
No. So actually, he tweeted back to me when I first committed here. But other than that, I haven't really heard much of him. I was trying to get a jersey sent to him. But, I mean, I think he's a pretty hard man to get a hold of. But
he's kind of busy, but
yeah. So if one day I can somehow send a jersey to him, I definitely would. But yeah, I think he's a pretty busy guy at the moment. So I'll let him keep doing that.
He's a little nonstop. I mean, you're busy too. What's the first thing you tell him? All right, when you see him, like so many in your age range, teenagers, 20s. This guy's an icon, man. What would you tell The Rock if you met him?
I mean, right now, I think I'll just dap him up and try to give him a hug and just talk about life. I think he's a dude where, I'd love to just hear him speak and talk about, life. I think that's, one of the best things about him is he's got such a great soul. He's always optimistic. He's always happy. So I think, just chatting with him about anything would be good.
Yeah, the guy's an inspiration. There's no doubt about that. But in a lot of ways, you are too. I mean, I know that it's hard when you're in it to really step big picture. But, man, when you think of what you've done, you mentioned your work as a scaffolder and having a life. I mean, you were making money and having your life. You go chase this dream. You come to the States not knowing what to expect. You live out in San Fran. You come to Miami. Do you ever take a step back? And then, again, if all goes well, you're going to be an NFL player one day. You'll get at least the opportunity to. Do you ever sit back and think to yourself, man, how the heck did this all happen? It's kind of like a fairy tale, crazy story that I don't even think people can write up for Hollywood, but you're living that life.
Yeah, sometimes I definitely look back, especially, I didn't even graduate high school. So, I started working with my brother out of high school. I didn't graduate high school. So definitely sometimes I look back and, sort of look at the journey I've been on since getting here, like the junior college, and had to go spend 2 years in San Francisco, which was very difficult. And just, the career I made here and the name I've made for myself here at the University of Miami, such an iconic university. Yeah, it's definitely special. And, I know I'm doing everyone else. It kind of makes it easier being over here in the States when, I know I'm doing all the family and stuff back home, proud. So it makes it a lot easier when, the more success and stuff I'm having here, it's the easier it gets. So I'm loving every bit of it.
Last question: how does this fairy tale end? Like, what's the goal now? Obviously, you're coming back to Miami. Winning a championship would be nice, whether ACC or national title. Then after that, well, like, what are your end of career at UM and then post UM career aspirations?
Yeah, so obviously right now the goal is just getting better, taking care of spring, doing what we need to do. But after football, after my football career, playing days, I think I spoke with Coach Cristobal about this, about maybe I might even start learning a little bit now during my last year. Just I think I'd be a great college recruiter. Obviously need to learn a different position than punting, but I'd love to get into coaching. I think I'd be great. I'll be a great recruiter, and just I'd love to stay around college football or football. I think it's a great life to be around. So that's kind of my goal at the moment, but we'll see what happens.
Well, listen, I appreciate the time. Again, as a Kane alum, it's great to follow your career, to see what you've been able to accomplish, to live out a dream, and to come back. We're happy to have you for another year. So have a good off season with the spring football in a couple months, and we look forward to your senior year and hopefully some big wins.
I appreciate that, and yeah, I look forward to the season too. It's going to be a good one.